Hey guys, Brixenta here. Today I'm going to talk to you about some tips for being on camera. How to be successful. Alright guys, today we are going to talk about good camera presence. Have you ever wondered what it is that you're not quite doing right, but people seem to have down what maybe you're missing? Well, I'm going to give you some answers to those questions, and hopefully this helps you out and gives you some guidance to better your videos, your stories, and your live streams. So, the first tip is smile, shoulders back, and relax. So guys, if I'm sitting here talking to you like this all of the time, what do you think that says? Do you want to listen to my videos? No, you absolutely do not. Why do you think that is? Well, because if you're not smiling, your face isn't really very friendly. People want a friendly face. They want somebody that they can connect with. And a friendly face is a great way to do that. So if you're sitting there and you're hunched over like this and you're tense and you're looking down and nervous and you don't really know what to say, how do you feel right now? You feel pretty uncomfortable watching me, right? Well, people want to see you that you're confident, so your shoulders are back. They don't want you to be tense because they want to just relax and hang out with you. Because for them, this is a one-on-one session, whether it be your live streams, whether it be your stories, whether it be your videos, whatever it is, it feels like a one-on-one session for them. So you want to be relaxed, shoulders back, and you want to smile. Be inviting. Tip number 2, eye contact. So, a lot of people want to look at the viewfinder. My viewfinder is over here. They want to look at themselves. They want to watch themselves talk. But what's happening right now? Do you feel like I'm talking to you? No, you probably don't, right? Because it feels like I'm off in the distance talking at you, but you're sitting there like, okay, I'm not really connecting with this person. I want to connect with this person. I want them to feel like they're talking to me. I want to feel special. I want to feel invited. Well, you want to make eye contact with the lens, directly with the lens, and it is so unnatural. So when you first start, you're going to have to practice a lot, because talking to a camera, something that doesn't move, that can't make eye contact, that doesn't talk back, talking to a camera is not a natural thing to do. So, if this helps you, envision talking to your best friend, or your mom, or your brother, or whoever it is that you value and you love having a conversation with. Maybe even print off a picture of them and put it right above the camera, and just pretend like you're talking to them, like you're having a conversation one-on-one. It's going back and forth, you're talking to them, you're telling them a story, and then look directly into the camera, and it's probably going to flow a lot better. It's probably going to be a lot more relaxed. You're going to have to practice. It's going to take many, many times, and that is okay. It's perfectly normal. That just means you're normal. Surprise! Woo! Alright, next tip. The next tip kind of goes along with what I just talked about. Film yourself a lot. Do whatever you can to film yourself. If you really want to do something with your videos or your social media, whatever it is that you're trying to build up, film a lot, because what's going to happen is every time you film, you're going to get more and more comfortable. It's going to be more and more natural. You're going to figure out how to flow with it, what works for you, what doesn't work for you. So I highly, highly, highly recommend doing stories every day. So whether it's Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, whatever the case is, I highly recommend doing stories every day, because they're short little clips that don't get saved, but you can get whatever it is you want out there. You can practice making that eye contact, you can practice presenting yourself, you can practice relaxing, you can practice smiling, you can practice all of those things, and your stories are a great place to practice that, and you can do it every day without annoying people. And I highly recommend live streams as well, because what happens with live streams is you actually get feedback. You can actually sit there and say, hey guys, am I smiling enough? Am I too awkward? Are my shoulders hunched? Am I sitting here relaxed enough? How do you feel when I'm talking to you? You can actually ask for their feedback. I highly recommend focusing on one thing at a time though, because you don't want to get too overwhelmed. That's a whole nother story. We'll do another video on that. But, so, just my tip to you is film yourself a lot. Whatever that means, whether it's videos, stories, or live stream, film yourself a lot. Tip number 4, script or no script? Well, here's the thing. Everybody is different. Everybody functions differently. Everybody reacts to things differently. So one person might need something pretty well scripted to be able to do a good job. They might actually need to memorize lines. Most likely you're not going to memorize line for line, because that's just going to be far too overwhelming, and you're going to be thinking far too much about the lines instead of what you're actually doing. So some people just try to wing everything. Normally you miss things when you do that completely. For me, what I do is I usually do bullet points. Some bullet points are more detailed than others, depending on what I'm doing. Such as, for my course, I use bullet points and I try to detail out every single point that I want to hit. I don't go into detail within those bullet points, but I try to make sure to list every single point that I want to make so that I don't miss anything. And I have it sitting next to the camera so that I can either pause, look over at it, read it, or I can kind of glance over when I'm talking, or if you put it right above the camera, you can actually glance up at your notes and people don't really notice. So when I'm doing a video like this, I make a list of bullet points on my phone. So I go over the 5 tips that I want to portray to you guys, or whatever it is, and I just make a little blurb about it. Sometimes I stop between each point. Sometimes I try to remember several points. What you could also do is, if you have pockets, you could stick a piece of paper in your pocket with your bullet points on it. That way you know it's there. It's a comfort thing. A lot of times you probably won't even need it, but at least you know it's there. Whatever works for you. But I highly recommend at least doing something. There are videos that I just wing. They're usually my shorter inspirational videos. Those are the ones that I usually just wing. I sit there, figure out what it is I want to talk about, maybe do a little research, and then I sit there and I think about what I want to say, then I push record and I just say it. I do it off the cuff a little bit. So it depends on what type of video I'm doing, how detailed I get in my bullet points. But I highly recommend at least doing something and not doing word for word scripts, because those usually, they can sound clean, but you don't always get a connection because you're too focused on not messing up any of the words. So just relax and make a few points. That's my tip to you. And tip number 5 is lighting and camera angles. Okay, so I'm gonna show you what it's like if it's too dark. Okay, so now I'm sitting here filming this video, talking to you. Today I'm going to give you 5 tips for being on camera. Here we go. Tip number 1. You don't want to film like this. You don't want to film like this. It's too dark. It's too distracting. You don't want bad lighting. And you see I have this funny glow coming from this direction, and I have darkness coming from this direction, and it's really hard to focus on what I'm saying. But here's the other thing. You don't want the light directly on one side of your face. I highly recommend having 2 lights if you're going to do a lamp like this. But if you don't have 2, try to get something you can actually adjust up and down, because I can get this in a pretty good angle where it's not just shadowing one side of my face. So this is what I always use to do my live streams. I rarely sit here to film my videos for you guys, but today we're sitting here. I do use this light a lot though. It's usually in a different angle and moved anyway. But anyway, so the other thing is, if you have the light directly on you, just shining directly on your face. You're all blown out. You don't want that either. I highly recommend filming somewhere where maybe you have natural light helping you, or if you don't, having two lights coming at you and maybe not directly into your eyeballs so you can focus on what you're trying to say. Or you figure out how to get a light at a good angle. Don't just film all willy-nilly and not worry about lighting at all. You can do it cheaply, you can even do it freely, but you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. But you do have to be aware of your lighting source, where you're at, and how it looks on camera. Video angles is the other one. You don't want to be a floating head. My head is in the film, and then not much else. It's all this empty space. It does not look attractive, and it's really weird that you're talking to a floating head. You really want your head pretty high up in the frame, because that is how people are going to focus on you, and their attention is going to be drawn to you and not everything else. And the fact they may not even know that it looks weird, but they're like, I'm so confused as to why I'm so distracted right now. So just watch where your positioning is. And also, if you're shooting from an angle like this, you look pretty darn weird. It is not attractive. Nobody wants to see up your nose. We don't need to know if you have nose hairs or not. Filming like this is pretty okay. Depends on what you're filming. If you're trying to film something professional, this is probably not the best angle in the world. But if it's something, I should say like really businessy, like corporate professional type video, this is probably not a good angle. But if your brand is pretty relaxed, pretty laid back, this might be a good angle. I film like this a lot. Also, if I'm filming like this is pretty awkward as well. This should be pretty obvious. Or if I'm filming from the side, can you focus on anything I'm trying to tell you right now? I think you are absolutely beautiful. But what are you focusing on? You're focusing on the fact that you can see my ear right now, right? So just be really aware of lighting and camera angles. So, in review, tip number 1. Alright guys, if you thought that those camera angles or those lighting situations were distracting, comment below with the one that you found most distracting and why. Why did you find it distracting? Smile and relax. Tip number 2. Eye contact with the lens, not the viewfinder. Tip number 3. Film yourself a lot. Tip number 4. Alright guys, I hope that you found this video helpful, and if you did, if you like my content, please don't forget to hit that little bell down below, because guess what? I upload videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you don't want to miss any of them, because I assure you, if you like this video, you'll like all of my other ones. Alright guys, I love you guys so much, and as always, dream big.